This tape is actually considered rather cursed. The broadcast of the chilling message shocked the nation. How did he create the SOS sign, and how did the SOS sign remain intact for 5 years? Welcome back to another episode of Mysteries of Asia. Today I'm joined with Secretary Sushii because she keeps barking, so I have to put her on the table because she's very needy and she wants attention. Today we're diving into the case of the SOS Mystery of Japan, a very baffling case that has mystified locals and outsiders for years. And when I saw this case, my interest was immediately piqued. So this case happened on Mount Asahi Dake, the highest peak on Hokkaido Island in northern Japan. And it is known for its stunning beauty and treacherous trails. That looks like a pretty nice mountain, like I wouldn't mind hiking that. However, on the afternoon of July 24th, 1989, this serene landscape became the center of a baffling mystery. So what happened here on this mountain? A police helicopter was dispatched to locate 2 missing hikers, and as the sun began to set, the rescue crew spotted a large SOS sign made of birch wooden tree logs. Now this is an important fact, so remember, the trees are made of birchwood tree logs, and we'll dive into that later on in this episode. This huge SOS sign was seen roughly 4 kilometers south from the main hiking trail summit, away from where people would usually hike. Seeing this as a clear sign of call for help, the rescuers started searching the area. Fortunately, they located the 2 missing hikers who emerged from the woods near the massive SOS sign, measuring 18 meters in length and 5 meters wide. You can see it's a big sign, which would take considerable effort to make, and this sign played a crucial role in the hikers' rescue. However, what seemed like a successful rescue mission soon turned into one of the most perplexing mysteries ever recorded. Back in the helicopter, the rescuers questioned the 2 hikers, and the rescuers even praised the hikers' intuition for creating that huge SOS sign, which really helped in their rescue operation. But this is when things started to get a little bit weird. The 2 hikers looked at each other in confusion, and they said, "What sign? What SOS sign?" The rescuer pointed down because they were still in the helicopter. "That SOS sign, did you guys not create it?" And the hikers said, "No, it wasn't them that created the sign." The mystery deepened. Who then created that SOS sign, and for what purpose? The second search. The next morning, the rescue team along with local police began an extensive search of the area surrounding the SOS sign, located 4 kilometers from the peak of Mount Asahi Dake. And what they discovered was horrifying. Firstly, they found scattered human bones which showed signs of animal bites. The remains suggested a tragic fate, possibly from several years prior. The bones were then sent to Asahi Kawa Medical University for examination. The initial analysis revealed that the bones belonged to a woman with blood type O. However, just 100 meters away from the sign, a discarded backpack was found containing personal items, including a tape recorder and 4 cassette tapes. It's been a while since I've seen cassette tapes, but I guess because it's an old case, this was what they used to listen to music back then. Now we have our trusty phones, and it included a tape of songs from a popular Japanese anime of the 1980s, Magical Princess Minky Momo. This tape right here, this tape was also found. And something interesting to note, this tape is actually considered rather cursed due to its association with natural disasters. What a coincidence that this guy was listening to this theme song from this anime. But the most disturbing discovery was the tape recorder. The voice on the tape was a desperate cry for help, a man trapped and unable to move. So let's have a listen to this tape. So it sounds like he's speaking very slowly and making sure that whatever he's calling out to can hear his voice, and I wonder why. The full message translates, "I'm on a cliff and can't move. SOS, help me. I'm at the spot where I first saw the helicopter. The bamboo grass is too deep and I can't go anywhere." I don't know if he's calling out to the helicopter or not. That's a very interesting thing to note, that he saw a helicopter. And I'm just wondering, like, why was there a helicopter flying above him? It's not the same helicopter as we mentioned earlier, because the 2 hikers that we mentioned earlier They were rescued at a much later date. So was someone already looking for him? The broadcast of the chilling message shocked the nation. The voice was clearly that of a man, yet the bones were initially identified as those of a woman. So this added another layer of confusion to the mystery. Further examination revealed fractures in the leg and upper body of the skeleton, suggesting the person had suffered serious injuries. Serious injuries. So how did this injured person manage to build such a large SOS sign, if it even was this person? As I mentioned earlier, it was made of tree logs. It's quite unfathomable that an injured person could build and carry such heavy logs to build this sign. Obviously, this is a huge mismatch of evidence because the voice on the tape recorder was a man, but the bones found were that of a woman. So investigators requested a re-examination of the bones. This time, the analysis confirmed that the remains belonged to a man with blood type A, correcting the earlier mistake. I mean, that's a totally separate and different analysis, man. From a woman with blood type O to man with blood type A. That's a complete contrast. Everything is wrong. But I guess because it's old technology, it's in 1989. The technology wasn't as advanced as what we have today. But still, what a fatal and grave error. I didn't even notice this picture. Look at how many wild animals there are here. What the hell is this? There's a Azo red fox. Sounds damn cool. There's a pine grosbeak. There's a Siberian ruby throat. Who the fuck is naming these animals? Sounds like fucking Pokemons, dude. Japanese pika. Japanese pika. Is that where Pikachu comes from? Sorry guys, I digress. I just saw that very interesting, cute graphic over there. Right now, things are starting to take shape because the evidence somehow correlate and they match. 5 days into the investigation, a journalist from the Japanese TV station HBC discovered even more items related to the case in a hole inside a nearby tree. When I hear hole in a tree, it just reminds me of like cartoons with squirrels building a hole, because I don't see much holes in trees here, at least not in Singapore.
But in Japan, I think it's sort of common. They have like a lot of old, tall wooden trees. You can actually go in, you can fit your whole body inside. Yeah, the hole is that big. Yeah.
Perhaps it's more common in Japan, but I was thinking, why did he put his items in a hole in a tree? Wouldn't it make it very difficult for people to find it? So inside the hole, the reporter found 2 cameras, a notebook, and a driving license under the name Kenji Iwamura of Konan City, Aichi Prefecture. Finally, we have some sort of identification of this person and possibly the person that made that tape recording. Police searched their records and discovered that this man was reported missing in the area 5 years ago in 1984 while hiking Mount Asahi Dake, yet he was never found. So it was indeed a missing person. While the items found provided more clues, it also raised a lot of new questions. Like, how did he create the SOS sign, and how did the SOS sign remain intact for 5 years? So here's a short video of how difficult it is to chop a birch tree. As you can see, it's very difficult to cut a birch tree. And what's peculiar is that no evidence of tools were found in the area where Kenji's belongings were discovered. So without any tools, how did Kenji create this sign? It's really unfathomable that an injured person could create that sign. So who did it and how did he do it? Aerial photos showed the SOS sign was visible in 1987, but not in 1982, suggesting it had been built sometime in between, which matched the timeline of when Mr. Iwamura went missing. But it's weird that the sign managed to stay intact for 5 years across all the seasons. Like, it withstanded wind, snow, and I think one of the more puzzling and scary thing was also, it was reported that Mr. Iwamura's parents identified the articles in the back as his. However, they were not so sure about the voice in the tape recording, which is weird. Like, how can his own parents not recognize his voice? So was it even his voice in the tape recording? As a parent, you should be able to recognize your own child's voice. So that's a little bit peculiar. And now we move on to the current known timeline of events. So this is what possibly transpired. Piecing together the evidence, it appears that Mr. Iwamura was hiking on the main trail and had took a wrong turn, as there is usually a very recognizable safe rock to tell people where to turn. But there's also a fake safe rock as pictured, and he probably took a wrong turn at the fake safe rock. I don't think you can really see in this picture, but you can see it in the video now. they look very, very similar, and you have to remember that it's a very high mountain, right? And it's in Japan. As you can see in the picture, it looks extremely misty and your visibility is definitely impaired while hiking this trail. It's very easy to mistake the two safe rocks because they look so similar. My initial thought is, why don't they just remove the fake safe rock? I hope it's removed now. After this mystery, after this case, it's evident that it is a safety hazard, that people may mistake this safe rock and get lost on this mountain. Also, something to note, since the first boulder leads to a steep cliff with bamboo shrubs nearby, the assumption is that that was the area the man was talking about in the tape recording. However, his body had been found further away in the wetlands near a large river. So perhaps a scavenging animal had dragged his body, to the wetlands. Maybe it was the fox, the Azo fox. Maybe it was the Azo red fox that dragged his body, or maybe it was the Siberian ruby throat that swallowed Kenji in its ruby throat. After taking the wrong turn, this left Kenji stranded on a cliff where he recorded his desperate message. Realizing the futility of waiting, he descended to the lower ground and built the SOS sign. It was said that Mr. Iwamura was a determined person. In such a situation, he would have done everything he could to survive, including building that sign. However, despite his efforts, Kenji's SOS sign went unnoticed for years. How very sad. Imagine going through all the trouble with a fractured leg to build that sign, and your efforts end up futile and nobody saw that sign. And now we move on to the theories. Theory 1, no foul play. Theory 1 would suggest that there was no foul play involved, and basically what we mentioned earlier was all true. That he took a wrong turn, he got lost, he got stranded, he made the voice recording, he descended down to a lower ground, and he built that SOS sign with a fractured leg and a fractured upper body. But I don't know, it is honestly quite hard to believe that someone could do that with such an injured body. Like, if he got lost and he realized that he was lost, why not just turn back around and walk backwards to safety? And if he had so much time to build that huge SOS sign, why not just continue hiking? Why not just hike out or walk straight to civilization? Why take so much time to build that SOS sign? It's possible, but it raises a lot of new questions as well. And this is a picture of Mount Asahi Dake when it's misty. As you can see, barely visible. You can hardly see anything in front of you. Theory 2, pranksters on the loose. So theory 2 would suggest that this SOS sign had nothing to do with Kenji Iwamura's disappearance. It could be just pranksters creating this huge SOS sign. And my first thoughts when I read this theory is, it reminds me of the crop circle. People think it's aliens, but a lot of people also think it's just an elaborate hoax. That hoaxsters create these huge patterns on crop fields as a prank. That reminds me of this huge SOS sign. So it could be pranksters maybe just building this for fun. I mean, I would do that. Okay, actually I won't lie. I would do something like that, but I don't have the time or energy to build such a huge SOS sign. I love a good prank. Cutting trees like that and shifting logs in this position. Yeah, no, nah. Too much effort. Last theory, aliens? Okay, this one is quite a stretch. But perhaps aliens came by and abducted Kenji Iwamura and made the SOS sign, conducted experiments on him, and then just set him back on the ground, just threw him back on Earth and left him to fend for himself. What an evil alien. But why did the aliens create an SOS sign? I don't know. What theory do you think it is?
I think it's tree.
Aliens
are real.
Earth is just inhabited by evil aliens, just playing punk on humans, just playing pranks on us, and just abducting us and creating huge SOS signs. What do you guys think? Is it theory 1, 2, or 3? I guess the most possible one is 1.
Yeah, but it's also like, did he get help in creating that sign?
But if he got help, that person could help him escape or like help him, get out of there.
Or maybe that pile of bones actually consists of 2 people. That's why there was the whole mix-up. Yeah, maybe. Given that he listens to anime music, probably an otaku, right?
That's a big assumption to make. You just insulted a lot of Singaporeans who watch anime.
I mean, I watch anime too. Nothing wrong with being an otaku.
Nothing wrong with being an otaku.
Yeah, but just saying that usually otakus are not very fit. So, like, where did he get the strength if he doesn't have, any tools to create? No axe, no saw. then what? He's just going with his bare hands, breaking trees.
Yeah, maybe he was inspired by the Princess Pinky Momo's theme song. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Mysteries of Asia. Let me know in the comments any other new cases you would like me to talk about, or send me an email. I've seen a lot of your comments and I even received some emails asking me to talk about different stories. So thank you guys for that. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, consider subscribing and I'll see you guys next week. Peace. We're done. Why are you still here? Cut! Cut!